Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to Warfaire Weekend in St. Louis. We are here with the MonPoc Finals. I'm Doug Hamilton, digital sculptor for Privateer Press, and with me, my son.
I'm Tanner Thomas, the miniatures casting lead.
And we're gonna bring some entertaining announcements to this final game of the day for MonPoc. And we have Brett Fogel playing Protectors against Dave. What's Dave? Dave
Also
Dreyhouse.
playing Protectors.
Protector on Protector. Somebody's overpowered here.
So
our players are getting ready still. They're just about got all their buildings placed, figuring things out. And we're going to be ready to go here in just a minute.
let's get a live look in at the table and take a look at those rainbows coming off of Sky Sentinel.
That's pretty impressive.
Very fancy.
Yeah. So Tanner, you know a lot more about MonPoc than I do, so I'm going to rely on you to help me out with what's going on here.
Well, I'll be here for you best as I can.
Well, that's what a good son would do.
I have a feeling that King Kondo is going to try and move in there and get some damage done early so he can try to skate away with the game by taking out one monster and give himself the advantage early.
I kind of like the King Kondo side. I think the apes look really good.
And it looks like we're out here with Brett spawning a couple of his units on his unit turn.
So they are on their way.
He's putting out a G-Tank. He's got a repair truck out there and an interceptor over by that apartment building.
And how many models can they spawn at the start? I'm literally learning how to play as we go.
Well, they can put as many unit models out as they have spaces to spawn them in. They can also spend an extra dice to push the units that they've already spawned out of those spawn beacons so they can continue to spawn more, and they can spawn as many as they can afford with their dice.
Nice. And what kind of tactics do you think we should kind of expect from Sky Sentinel and Defender X?
Well, they're going to be using their high mobility to get around and move up the board early. And hopefully they're going to move over some of those buildings and put themselves in an ideal spot to make some throws and body slams on the opposing team.
So they're going to move fast and smash.
Or at least move up quickly and gain some control of the board. I think that Kondo is going to be doing perhaps the majority of the smashing early on.
All right.
But I think that the guard robot duo may want to get up the board and do some control early on in the game.
Okay, and then on the other side, Kraken Octus and King Kondo. What do you think the game plan there is?
You know, in my personal experience, I haven't had a ton of luck putting Kraken Octus to work. I'm not too sure what he's good at. Hopefully we can see some good play from him here and maybe learn a thing or two. But like I said, I think Kondo's really looking to get in there and do some damage early on and possibly take out one monster to make it an uneven game. So we got an interceptor moving up to take one of the power points. Same thing with the G-Tank, moving towards the center of the board. Another interceptor moves up for Brett.
And what happens when they take those power points?
When they take those power points, they're going to generate power dice for themselves on their monster turns.
And they can generate as many points as they control. That generates a die for each one?
It does, as well as every building that they control by having 3 unit models adjacent to it.
So 3 unit models adjacent to a building puts them in control. Can King Kondo control a building?
No. None of your monsters.
Just your units control it. Okay. I'm going to have all these questions, so I'm relying on you.
Well, that's good, because then this will be informative for new players and hopefully entertaining for game masters and professional players.
Right. Tony is moving our tools of the trade around.
It appears that we've moved on to Dave's turn. He's making some decisions here. Ooh. We've got quite a few strike fighters coming out.
Are the strike fighters fast?
The strike fighters are very fast. They're also very easy to shoot out of the sky.
Can they move over the buildings, or do they have to move around them?
They certainly can. They can fly right on over.
And so the tanks can't do anything like that.
Which is probably going to make them very useful in conjunction with the guard robots to control the board early on, like we were talking about earlier. I'm a big fan of G-Tanks personally. They are simple and sweet. Get enough of them, and they're a unit that can actually damage a monster, which is not the most common thing. Looks like we're going to spawn a rocket chopper.
A rainbow rocket chopper.
Next to that corporate HQ. I really do love the rainbow smoke trails, even on the smaller unit models. It looks great.
It's pretty creative.
It's also a very nice yellow. Not an easy color to paint.
About 13 layers of yellow.
It looks as though Dave has saved 2 of his unit dice just in case. Oh, no, he's moving.
All right. I'm getting caught up in what they're doing and just looking and not commentating.
Looks like we're going back to Brett's turn. He's powering up, taking his monster turn.
Do we
Let's
have
see how many power dice we're going to collect here? That's quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not bad at all. King Kondo's rolling right on up. And Krakenoctus is going to head up too. Let's see what they've got in mind.
We were talking about the power dice. They're coming from each of these locations. Is that correct? Oh, these are the spawn points.
So those pink nodes are the power nodes.
Ah, the pink ones are the power nodes.
Every building back there that he has 3 unit models adjacent to is generating him a power dice as well.
So all the pink nodes generate 1. Do the buildings only generate 1? There's another one of the pink nodes.
For each building that is controlled by 3 unit models, yes, generates 1 additional power die.
Okay, they get 1.
Yes. So Dave is sitting at 6 power dice, while Brett sits at 7, which is pretty respectable for just getting into the game. Looks like Brett's considering his next move. He's moved up the board with Kondo and Krakenoctus. He's doing a little contemplation on his speed and attack power over here tableside.
They're moving fast up
Okay.
there.
So Brett has preserved quite a few of his monster die, and he's going to wait it out while Dave kicks into action with his monsters, and he's heading right up the board over those buildings like we had anticipated.
Ah, yes, because he can fly over the buildings, right?
He sure can. He has high mobility.
Wow.
And he's stepping. Let's see what he has in mind.
So he's going to smash a tank?
It's Sky Sentinel time.
Monpoc doesn't waste any time getting into it, does it?
Not really, especially not with these 2 players. So it appears to me that Krakenoctus has been left a little bit behind that G-Tank to put him in a safer spot and possibly avoid the throw, body slam, power attacks.
Because the G-Tank is going to block him from getting into base to base?
Correct. Sky Sentinel is not going to be able to step on the same spot.
Noted. And when Brett saved those power dice, those stay in that pool until he uses them. Is that
That's
right?
correct. So he's got quite a reserve that he's going to be able to use to do some real damage with his monsters.
Right. Now he can keep adding to that. So next turn he'll add more to it?
Correct.
Okay.
So it looks like he's spent some of those. He's sitting down on 3 power dice right now.
Right. And Dave didn't generate as many power dice his first turn, did he? Or did he?
Dave started out with 6 after the first turn.
Oh, he did?
Brett
Okay.
ended up with 7.
Great. So he's attacking Kondo?
He is attacking Kondo. He's making a blast attack with Sky Sentinel, if I'm not mistaken.
So
taking a power dice back because he destroyed that interceptor. Okay, we've got Sky Sentinel attempting to swat the Interceptor right in front of him.
I did not see if King Kondo took any damage on that blast.
Oh, he's whacking that thing straight into Kondo. That sounds like it's going to be an exact hit on an 8.
Uh-oh.
And the Interceptor smashes into pieces against Kondo's very thick skull.
So he destroyed the Interceptor. Did he generate a power die, did I see on that? Is that?
Yes. Whenever you destroy a unit model, you generate a power die.
Okay. And he'll be able to respawn that model on his next turn?
On his next unit turn, yes.
Okay.
And that is where most of his dice currently are. So I'd be willing to bet that that's the next turn type that he's going to take.
Right. So he's loading up for his next turn.
Yep. We've got even more power dice. We got 10 power dice over here on Brett's side now.
And the power dice just have a higher percentage chance of landing a hit.
Yes, they are the most effective dice. They have the most strikes.
We have a guest in the studio, Billy Hungerford.
There's a lot of contemplation going on over here. They want to make a good move. Back to the action.
Right. Right, so it sounded like King Kondo did take a couple points of damage, and his health is down to 9.
Yeah, I believe he got that Interceptor swatted at him from the north side of the board by Defender X. That looks like there's a lot of dice. Oh, okay. I was scared that he was going to roll all those power dice at once.
So it looks like he's checking to see where he can move Kraken Octus to.
It looks like he does have a pathway between those two buildings, but some of the stuff's going to have to get out of the way first.
Oh, it's Kondo moving.
Yep. Ooh, Kondo is ready to throw down the Sky Sentinel.
They are in base to base.
Mm-hmm. Kraken Octus moves ahead, too. So it looks to me like Brett's the clear aggressor with both monsters at this point.
Right, he is. He was moving in deep into that territory.
Mm-hmm. Dave took care of a few units, did a little damage to monsters, but it looks to me like Brett is ready to rumble. That is a lot of power dice. Sky Sentinel's going to get tossed by King Kondo in all likelihood.
I think he's throwing a lot of dice. You're right.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a lot of death.
That's a big hit. All right.
He's smashing him into a building.
He's going to suplex him St. Louis style into those buildings.
Oh, St. Louis style. You know that's getting serious.
He's going to take a hit from the throw. He's going to take a hit from the fire. He's going to take a hit from the other fire. And he's going to take 2 more hits from both buildings. That is some big, old damage, just like we like to see here in the finals. I told you that King Kondo was not messing around, and I meant it.
You did mean it. You did warn us. So King Kondo just gets that one attack?
Yes, he made a power attack.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kraken Octus just shoot up a couple of those strike fighters while he was at it.
So can the tanks and the fighters can they put damage into the monsters?
So yes, actually, I think that in my experience, G tanks are one of the best unit models for doing that, because if you get them next to their elite tanks, you can actually pool all of them together enough to get a damage on a monster.
Okay, and I know there's the regular tanks and you mentioned the elite tanks.
Yes.
So the elite tanks are they just a little bit better, or are they just give an extra ability?
They have 1 extra dice on their firepower, and they also give a benefit to tanks that are, I believe, adjacent to them or within 2 spaces of them. It's one of the 2. So the elite tanks are going to power up all the other tanks around them.
And how often can you spawn the elite tanks?
It depends on how many are in your list. And if we take a look at Dave's list, it looks like he's brought 2 elite tanks with him. Okay, they are going to cost an extra unit dice to spawn, or an extra action dice to spawn them, though.
Okay, so he has to spend action dice to spawn those.
Correct.
And that's for any
For any elite unit.
Okay. And just does the base unit cost anything to spawn?
Yes, it costs a single action dice.
Okay, so single action dice
There
for
may be
one.
some exceptions that cost 2 and 3 for standard and elite, but I'm not aware of anything like that.
And which die did you say, Tanner? Which die does it cost?
That is the action dice.
Okay.
The action dice is a white dice, the boost dice is the blue dice, and the power dice obviously are the red dice.
Perfect.
And they are in probability effectiveness order in the way that I just listed them.
Right.
All right, we're spawning more strike fighters. They're coming right back out.
He's not messing around.
He's getting a free rocket chopper spawn because he controls that guard HQ, that guard base.
And each specialty building offers a different ability?
That is correct. The apartment buildings are the standard buildings, and every other building on the board has some kind of special rule.
Now, if you
the
have
Statue of Liberty, notably, especially because we just released an alternate sculpt for her, she has one of probably the better building abilities in the game. She allows a unit to take the same named action twice. And if you see on the southwest side of the board, or southeast side of the board, there's a Statue of Liberty there next to a repair truck. The nice thing about that is that it allows you to take the repair action twice, so you can actually take a burning rubble all the way to a building in one turn.
Liberty.
Okay.
I noticed.
Looks like we're going to move some G-Tanks. They're going to move a G-Tank and a repair truck over there. Looks like they're looking to control both that power plant and that Mount Terra, which is a good move. Get all the power dice you can.
Now, the faction buildings, even though you might play it as this is my faction building, can my opponent control my faction building?
Anyone can control any building on the board. All they have to do is have 3 units in adjacent spaces.
Right.
For all intents and purposes, though the players may own some of these models, no building is anybody's in this game. These
Right.
buildings are part of the city, and they are open for anyone to control or destroy.
So even though it's my faction building, he can gain a benefit from it if he controls it.
He certainly can.
That's pretty scary. I was looking at the
It looks
Ashland.
like we may be combining a blast attack from several of those strike fighters and rocket choppers. And yeah, he's going to hit Kondo with that for 1 damage. So that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with the G-Tanks. Strike fighters are pretty powerful too. They're fast, they're powerful, but they're real easy to kill. So
Right.
if you add a couple attacks together from all of those, plus that rocket chopper, you definitely have some likelihood to be able to do damage to a large monster.
And the tanks don't use power dice, just the monsters use the power dice, right?
Yes, only monsters can use power dice. And a monster has to spend a power dice if they want to make a power attack, but they can add any number of power dice that they please, as long as they have them in their power dice well, to add on to any one of their regular attacks
Right.
as they please.
Okay.
So if you really want to guarantee that big hit, you could stack those power dice on there. And currently, it looks like Dave is going to pick up some power dice at the start of his next turn, at least 1, 2, at least right over here by the power plant and the Mount Terra that he's got controlled. He's going to pick up 2 power dice there. I'm not seeing any other of his units on power nodes, but I could be mistaken. And Brett over here is just absolutely stacked on power dice, which is going to do him a lot of benefit as he starts getting into battle with the other large monsters. Sky Sentinel already not looking too good. It looks like they're squaring up, and I'm guessing it's time for another power attack. I wouldn't be surprised to see a body slam here, but it's probably going to be a throw. Let's see how many power dice he's going to drop on this. That's going to be a clear indicator if he is taking a throw of how many spaces we're going to move.
Looks like he's counting up the dice.
Weighing his options. The suspense is killing me. Yep, it's throw time.
Uh-oh, that's going to be bad, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it depends on who you ask, really. Let's see what we got here. Looks like you rolled a 10. That should hit him. Oh, no. Is he going to throw him through? Oh, yeah. He's going to crush a whole lot of strike fighters with that throw. That's a very good play.
So if it hits the strike fighters, does it just destroy them?
Yeah, it's going to go right through. Well, the ones that it lands on. So a throw, effectively, you want to think about it as less of a straight across the ground throw and more of an arcing throw. So King Kondo is going to heave that Sky Sentinel over some of those models, and it's going to drop him down on top of that building and on top of that one strike fighter, taking out the strike fighter in the process and doing a fair amount of damage to the already damaged Sky Sentinel. So that was a very good play.
Nice.
Sky Sentinel is probably not going to make it much longer.
Now, when he reaches a certain wound level, he moves into his hyper form, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's going to change his abilities up a little bit.
Oh, Sky Sentinel just went hyper.
He's down at 3 health, so Kraken Noctis is probably going to move in and finish the job. And he might hurt a few G-Tanks. Not G-Tanks, he might hurt that repair vehicle on the way. Looks like we're gearing up for another throw on Sky Sentinel.
Wow, look at all those dice.
That's going to be really, really brutal for Dave to be out one monster while Brett is sitting at 12 and 8 health with his. It's going to give him a real advantage. And
Sky Sentinel is gone.
It doesn't look like it.
Still 3 life.
I like how you see on the left side of the screen there, Dave's got little washers as his health counters. So instead of putting a counter on top of the number, even though you could see the 2 numbers on the outside of it, being able to see the number through that is a great idea.
That's a good plan. I'll show what you're talking about there.
And it looks like Sky Sentinel has been removed from the board, so that throw through the buildings is going to take him out.
So how big of a deal is this going to be? Can one monster recover and hold out against these 2 fully healthy King Kondo and Kraken Noctis?
Well, anything can happen for 2 reasons, Doug. One of those reasons is...
What's the first reason?
One of those reasons is dice. Dice happen sometimes. If you don't allot enough of them, you might be screwed from the get-go. And even if you do allot enough of them, you might just roll poorly. And a couple of bad rolls could really sway the direction of the game. But right now I'm going to have to say that Brett's got a huge advantage right here in the finals.
I'm not an expert, but I feel like you're right.
Yeah, he's sitting with 1 monster, 0 power dice, and Brett's over here with both monsters, a lot of health, and plenty of power dice.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like an open and shut case, but I will cross my fingers, hold my breath, and see what happens.
Well, as a famous man once said, anything can happen. It's dice.
Was that me?
It was you, yeah.
5 minutes ago, circa 2019.
Like 2 minutes ago, but it's close.
Looks like Tony's moving in for a little clarification.
Right. Tony is not afraid
go back
to
to
jump
board.
in there.
Looks like Dave's got Brett's got some decisions to make. No, it should be Dave's turn.
I believe I heard Dave say, this is super not ideal.
I am inclined to agree.
Yes.
So Defender X on the top side of that board is going to be shooting at that Shadowgate.
So he wrecks it.
Excellent.
All right, so
he's going to pick up a power die from destroying that unit.
That's what I was going to ask, just clarifying that, so good.
And it looks to me like that Shadowgate was on a negative zone, so that was denying a power dice for Brett every turn, which he's now going to be taking advantage of.
And so he only has 1 power die right now. What can he do to try to generate more? I know he's going to need more if he's going to beat down Kraken Noctis and King Kondo.
He's in a really tough spot because those 2 buildings right in the center of his spawn points just got crushed. He doesn't have a repair truck on the vehicle or on the board right now. That's going to be real tough. It's going to be real tough, especially without the Statue of Liberty to repair those on his side.
You know, I was looking at that Statue of Liberty, the Warfare Weekend exclusive model. That's nicely cast.
It's beautiful. I made quite a few of those bases myself.
Yeah, that was well done.
Thank you, Doug. Our department appreciates your compliment.
Well,
it was well sculpted.
Oh, well, thank you. We also appreciate that. Oh, I'm getting the waving.
We're getting a 6 out of 10 from Tony over here in the booth.
Right. Tony's going to shut us down.
Okay. It looks like we got an interceptor moving up.
All right, so we're back to Brett's turn?
Yeah, it looks like he moved an interceptor up and dropped a power pod on top of that jungle base, if I'm not mistaken. And we got G-Tanks coming in next to that Shadow Sun base.
So he's spawning G-Tanks. Help me a little bit with how the activation process goes. So this part...
So right now he's going to spawn everything he wants to spawn.
Okay.
And he's got to obviously pay the dice to do that. So effectively he's going to spawn everything he wants to spawn, move everything he wants to move, and then actions or attacks.
Now, when you say move everything he wants to move, will he move his monsters and his tanks?
No, because he cannot do both of those.
They're separate phases.
Yes.
Okay.
You can only take a monster turn or a unit turn every time you take a turn.
That's what I needed to know. So he's gonna spawn his tanks and move his tanks, and then
more than likely.
Then it's gonna pass over to the monsters, or
he's gonna. So you can, when you start your turn, you can take either type of turn, provided that you have dice in that pool. If you do not have dice in that pool, you cannot take that type of turn.
So you pick it. He's either going to activate his tanks or his monsters.
Yes. So for instance, Brett's next turn, he doesn't have a choice. He has to take a monster turn.
Right.
So he's moving up the board. He definitely, I would say, has a solid control over the middle of the board and even possibly all the way back into Dave's spawning area. And it's just not looking too good on that side for him.
Right. And then...
So he's moving the interceptor up into that negative zone on the south end of the board to deny Dave even more power dice. Because obviously he is in love with Dave's misery.
And like when we're playing War Machine and Hordes, we have scenarios. Each scenario is given, you're getting points for controlling zones. What is it they have to do to win here?
So the goal here is simply to destroy the enemy's monsters, both of them. So once those monsters are destroyed, it is game over.
All right, so win the game, you destroy the monsters.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're putting some apes out here, some assault apes.
Looks like we got a quick judge call as Oz comes in to interpret some rules.
The Fist of Oz. So, like we talked about, while Brett does have a pretty solid advantage here, he's still got an entire Defender X that he's got to take out. And that's a solid 11 health that he's going to have to chew through to win this game.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Should be pretty doable, but this game's not over yet. That's for sure.
Well, this is the final, so both of these guys are undefeated at this point.
This is for all the marbles.
All the buildings in the city, if there's any left.
Hopefully not by the time they're done.
Whenever you're doing a broadcast with Tony, if you grab the wrong mouse and start pushing buttons, he does this very animated jump up and freak out at you. Or so I've seen just now.
All right, well, it looks like Defender X is ready to make his mark. His buddy Sky Sentinel got trashed, and he is displeased. So Kraken Noctis is going to be taking the brunt of it. That is to be sure.
Is there any bonus for a backstrike?
There is not.
Okay.
There's no such thing as facing in this game.
So I just heard he's gonna slam him into those tanks.
Yes. So he has the opportunity to throw him into. Well, he wouldn't want to throw him into his own tanks, but he might body slam him over onto the backside of his Defender X and smash that tank.
So he can flip him over backwards.
That is entirely possible. He might be trying to deny him that power dice, but I think it's a little more likely that he's going to try to hit him into a building.
Looks like that roll did not go.
It looks like he might have missed.
Yeah.
That's tough when you don't have enough power dice. That's
right.
That's to be certain.
Yeah, when he's throwing one power die compared to Brett throwing 6 of them at a time.
Ugh, and he just keeps piling those things on. It is just a Red Sea over there. And it looks like he's got some big ideas, possibly doing a little tandem strike. He's counting the spaces to move Kondo up there. And I have a feeling that Defender X is going to take a really, really big hit this turn.
Yeah, if Condo's coming in, Defender X is going out.
I just kind of imagine him grabbing a flying Defender X by the leg and snatching him out of the air.
Bashing him against the ground.
Going Hulk style and just smashing him against the buildings.
I'm just trying to see what they're planning here.
Whatever it is, it's not going to be good for Def X.
So looks like Defender X did take 1 point of damage for traipsing through the fire.
Yep. Well, something about omelets, something about eggs. Am I right, Doug?
I love omelets.
Going to have a St. Louis style omelet tomorrow morning while we're here for Warfare weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not sponsored by that company anymore, so we're not giving them any airtime for their omelets.
Oh, I'm excited to see what happens here.
So am I.
He's got a lot of dice at his disposal.
Right. And there were a lot of I'm measuring here and I'm measuring there, and I feel like somebody's going to get destroyed here.
Well, we can only be certain of 2 things.
Dice.
Stuff is going to get smashed, and stuff is going to get hurt.
I knew this was going to be a good pairing.
Here that Krakenoctus is gearing up for something because he's separating some white dice out.
So would you say he's about to release the Kraken?
You might say that.
That's 2 dirty looks I've gotten from Tony.
So Krakenoctus is going to step out and then back into that rubble to put out the fire. And Kondo's going to head north. He's going to take 1 step to get aligned with Defender X. And he's going to beat his chest like Doug.
Yes.
He's counting out his dice.
Man.
He says he needs 4 more steps, and I'm not sure what he plans on doing with them. But I cannot wait to find out.
Right. Historically, whatever game I've seen Brett play, he's played it at a high level. So.
Well, he's playing at a high level right now, Doug.
Well, thank you for confirming that.
Doug Hamilton is a national treasure.
Thank you, Cheated Faith Joe. I appreciate that.
Or at least a treasure in this 30-mile radius.
More like a buried treasure.
All right, let's see what Kondo's got up those shackles.
Hello, Screwfizzle. I'm just saying hi to our viewers. Screwfizzle, I have not requested a beer yet, but if you bring one by, I can test it when I'm off.
In fact, if you bring one by, he'll have 6 of them. I don't understand how that works, but...
Right. If you bring 1 6-pack by, we both have 3.
We're getting off topic.
Okay. Back to the game. Screwfizzle, leave us alone.
Back to the quote-unquote action. I'm just really, really excited to see what his plan here is, and the suspense is building heavily.
Well, that pool of power dice is...
it keeps changing,
yeah.
Right? He's pulling one, putting one back.
Here comes...
Be very careful about the amount of dice he's using, but that's probably for the best.
Here it comes.
Here it comes indeed. I can hear the dice shaking.
Boom!
Is that going to be enough? There's a lot of double strikes on there.
6, 7, 8, 9.
And it looks like, yup, Defender X has been thrown into the fire.
This Defender's on fire!
If I'm not mistaken, that should be dealing 3 damage to him. Putting him down at 7 health.
Oh.
Well, I don't think that he's going to get taken out this turn, but it may happen 2 turns from now when Brett has the opportunity to take another monster turn, assuming he spends all his white dice.
Oh, there's no power dice left. He's rolling them all.
Well, he must be very confident about this.
Uh-oh.
I think I know what's going on here. He's got 3 buildings over there.
Oh.
Carnage Corners being the first map that has the
Oh.
possibility to throw a monster into 3 buildings at once. He might be trying to finish this game right now, folks.
Oh.
At exactly 7 health.
Oh, no.
So he's going to get hit with the power attack for 1. He's going to hit 3 buildings for 3. And is he going to hit? No, one of those buildings is insulated. Sitting at 1 health. That is too bad that rubble does not become a burning rubble.
Wow.
That would have been very nice.
So he wrecked 3 buildings with 1 slam,
Well,
1 throw.
I'm sorry, Dave, but this game is all but over.
It's not looking good.
Rocket Chopper coming out.
So he's high performed now, but he only has 1 life left.
That is correct. More G-Tanks coming out. I guess he wants to pop off 1 last revenge shot, and honestly, I understand his feelings.
Right.
If you can't win, you got to make them feel it.
Go down fighting.
And we're even hearing Dave Tableside saying, I have super lost this no matter what I do. All right. We're waiting to see what Dave's cooking up for what may be his final or second to last turn. It's entirely possible that Brett will be able to finish Defender X off with some units, provided that he has any close enough.
Yeah, we're definitely winding this one down.
Looks like he's got a G-Tank in proximity, but that's not going to be enough to do it. He's probably going to have to wait until another monster turn.
I've learned a lot from watching this game. Don't play against Brett.
Well, it seems to me that he is championship material.
He is definitely not taking a loss on this day.
No, he really tore it up, too. He's making his presence felt in a very big way.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Dave brought sunshine and rainbows to a fire and brimstone bout, and that's going to be his downfall. Yeah. Power plant's back up.
Chernobyl
repaired by that repair truck to the south side of it. It's got some buildings controlled back there, but it's not going to save them, folks.
No, it's not.
Strike fighters are moving. I anticipate that they're going to sink in a shot together on Condo just for fun. G-Tank's moving up. All right, 2 tanks, 3 strike fighters, combining their blast attack onto King Condo. This may hurt, but it's not going to hurt a lot.
All it's going to do is make him angry.
You will not like him when he's angry. That's looking like a hit.
All right, so Condo takes 1 point of damage.
Putting him down at 7. All right, and we're back to Brett. He is putting down a Shadowgate.
And the Shadowgate is just a unit? Or
yes, the Shadowgate is a unit that is dropped by the Interceptor.
Okay. So do we think Brett can finish off Defender X this turn, or?
I'm not seeing it this turn. There's not enough tanks close to him. He's going to have to wait for a monster turn.
So what?
And I'm guessing that Dave's probably going to use his monster turn to run away, but we'll see what happens.
Right. So is the goal kind of be this turn for Brett to generate power dice, or just kind of set up the finale?
I imagine he's going to want to control some points and some buildings so he can really guarantee that win, but he's probably not too stressed about it.
Okay.
Plenty of time on the clock left for both players. He's going to dump all his dice to the monster pool because you know what time it is.
It's monster time.
It's monster time.
It's time to do the mash.
All right, he's going to pick up 4 power dice. He's got 1 building and 3 power points under his control. if I'm not mistaken. I'm not seeing any of his units on power points. I know he's got that power plant in the back under control, but I'm not sure where his other 3 power dice came from.
That's what I was looking as I was trying to, without asking you again to explain how the power dice work, I was trying to figure out how he generated 4.
Okay, we're going to take 7 white dice and all his power dice, and I have to assume that Kondo's getting shot.
Yeah. Try to bring down the Kondo.
Rolls a 7.
So he hits him.
It's going to hit Kondo exactly.
Pew pew. Ooh.
Kondo's down to 6 health.
Kondo does not seem too worried about it.
All right. Dave's going to save a few dice in case he wants to take another monster turn.
Right.
But I doubt he's going to get one.
Can you do back-to-back monster turns? You don't have to.
If you have dice in your monster pool, then yes, you can.
Okay.
Dave's going to generate his power dice, which is
Here
he's probably got them all in his hand.
Yeah. I think he's rolling
He's
everything.
getting at least 4 of them.
He has 2 hands full of dice.
3. He's getting at least 5 of them.
Dear
Oh,
God.
my.
That's all the dice.
And I'm going to have to assume that that's a game.
Yep. Players have shaken hands. All right. Well, that's the end of the finals. That was a little bit of a one-sided game there with Brett taking the win.
Well, like we anticipated before the start of the game, we figured Brett was going to move in there with King Kondo early and do some damage. He really tore up Sky Sentinel like on one of the first turns of the game and kind of sealed their fate with all the buildings that he threw him through, especially getting that triple building at the end of the game on Defender X. That's just a real pro move right there.
I always heard about the buildings being smashed, and I knew how the game was going to go, and that like that, but I didn't think you could smash them into 3 buildings at a time, so that was pretty impressive.
Well, that's the thing about Carnage Corners. It's probably going to change the meta a little bit. It's the only map that we currently have where you can throw a monster into 3 buildings. And that is just a ridiculous amount of damage like we saw at the end of the game there.
Well, it
Defender
looked like a
X
fun game.
Didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Well, it was at least a fun game for Dave, but or for Brett, but I hope they both had a good time. And we enjoyed watching them play, and that was very, very tactically excellent.
Well, we're gonna have more coming on the live stream this weekend at Warfare Weekend 2019 here in St. Louis.
Hey,
so
we'll be here with you in the booth.
Stick around with us. Doug Hamilton, Digital Sculptor, signing out.
Tanner, miniature casting lead. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for joining us. Play the drums, Tony.